I hit it. Welcome to the Patty Bandwagon Show, peeps. Pennatrator's trying to interrupt me. Episode 28. Penetrator.
Yeah.
This is going to be like the 4 out of 5 weeks with a guest.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But this guest is different. This guest has been here before.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you recognize that voice.
He was a one that we didn't press record on.
Oh, we did like 2 recordings on that one.
Yeah.
Troy Fontana's in the building. What up, Troy?
What up, y'all?
So,
Have me back, man. Good to see you guys.
oh, kids in the building. That's okay. It's all right. We need an additional guest. Now we got the kids under control. Troy, it's been a little bit since you've been with us. By chance, have you listened to any of our episodes since?
I have listened to some. I've missed the last few you guys have done. So,
Oh, they've been awesome.
really? Those have been the best ones?
Yeah.
In our opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Troy,
They had some guests, so they've been.
but Troy, here's kind of the thing with this.
Yeah.
Are there some points that you picked up on any type of level from what you've listened to?
Well, what do you mean by points?
Anything that's tickled your fancy, anything that you're like, you guys maybe should check yourself on the conversation, any type of element that you were either impressed, didn't like, anything.
For me, I like the chemistry between the two of you guys. You guys laugh a lot. You guys joke with each other, and I think that's just like, in general, we need more of that in life, right? So for me, like, I'll listen to podcasts, whether it's you guys or somebody else's podcast, a lot of times when I'm working, and I work from home by myself, you know, so it's almost like I'm hanging out with the people when I'm listening to a podcast, and I like that. And so I like that energy that you guys have. It just kind of lightens up the environment and the mood, and
All right.
that's been really cool.
So at least,
Yeah.
good job, Pennatrator. Did that make you feel good? Does that make you feel good about what we're doing right now?
Can you hear me?
Yes, unfortunately.
Okay. I can hear you fine. I just had to break up your little spiel that you're gonna go on.
This first couple minutes was totally like the hate journals who we talk shit about, how we were talking over each other. But anyway, Fontana, how's Glass Lung doing?
It's go. You know, fortunately, we're online, and I think a lot of people are staying home and they're shopping a little bit more online than they are obviously anywhere else. And so, knocking on wood, but we've been staying busy and, you know, still getting stuff out, and it's been kind of nice for me because I got nowhere really to go, so I'm getting caught up on a little bit of extra stuff too, like inventory. And I was actually chatting with Jpaddy a little bit before we were talking that I had been ordering. I get some of my parts from China, I get like my bowls from China, and they had the virus over there, and it started screwing up my supply chain, and I just kind of, I didn't even know what was going to happen globally or here or anything yet, but I just had this like intuition. I was like, man, I need to stock up like 3 months deep on everything just in case something ever happened, right? And so I bought like a whole bunch of inventory, literally like just got everything, and then this whole pandemic's hit here now. So I know, literally, I was like, damn, dude, like things are all messed up, you know? So yeah, man, still rolling, and hopefully it stays that way for a while, you know. But
So, Fontana, you've run multiple businesses. In this day and age, in this climate, working remotely is becoming a detrimental skill.
yeah, like not being able to work remotely.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
correct. So, it's a valuable skill.
Yes.
Work on vocabulary later.
Well,
Obviously, I haven't worked on language in my hiatus, but
well, I think you know, one of my hopes out of this is that people will see how many jobs can actually be done from home, And then what that does, it increases the quality of life for so many people, right? So let's say you have a certain job, and now your job comes to you and says, hey, feel free to work remote as long as you get these things done. How much better is that job now for you?
Yeah.
It's good, huge, right? Now you can drop your kids off at school, you can do a little bit of this, and it just enhances the quality of life. And so I hope that we get more of that ingrained in our society. I really think for most, maybe not most, I don't know, 50-50, whatever the number is, like the 9 to 5, 8 to 5 it's what Seth Godin would call a dinosaur legacy. It's something you do because we've always done it, and it doesn't always make sense. And there's even research that shows like the first, I think it's like 2 hours of work, or you get like 80% of your results done. And after that, literally at some point you hit diminishing returns, I think, at a lot of jobs. So I think there can be a lot of lessons that we can learn from this. These are just small little ones that hopefully we can apply later on to a more wholesome track. I know for me and us here, like spend a time we can connect with our kids more and slow things down a little bit and really focus on us here. And that's super valuable, super important. And I hope a lot of other people are also getting that same benefit,
Pennatrator, have you been getting a lot of family time?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We did some quarantine cleaning this weekend, which is...
Right.
Is this the cleanest your house has ever been?
Oh, no. I mean, it was like deep going through boxes in the garage type of cleaning. I threw out, I don't know, probably 60 empty CD cases that I had in a box. So, yeah.
I did the same sort of thing with spring cleaning in my smaller establishment, but I found photos from back in the late 90s, early 2000s with both of you fools.
Nah.
Oh, whoa.
Yes.
Nice. You got to show us those.
Well, I'd have to leave our studio area right now to get them to you, but after the show, I will definitely show them to you. It is. And this kind of time makes you do things that you don't normally do. Yeah. And all of a sudden you run into maybe memories that you'd miss.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you guys remember the Evel Knievel costume, right?
Of course.
We found that.
Nice.
Megatron was wearing the helmet, like cleaning stuff. It was awesome.
Pennatrator, did you try it on?
Yeah. It didn't fit, but he wanted to try it on.
It probably didn't zip up, but...
Yeah, I got like a leg in there. I was like, oh, I'm going to fall.
Well... But so speaking of having the additional free time with family, Fontana, you're getting into a hobby / hustle that involves your family and introducing athletes from back in the day to your kids.
That's right. Yeah, I mentioned to you guys, in times like this, for me, maybe a lot of us, like it's important we stay engaged in activities, right? Because that's going to give us a sense of fulfillment, like we're accomplishing things, and it creates, I really think, like momentum as a form of energy, and we all need momentum in our life. So one of the things me and my 2 boys had started doing maybe like a month, 6 weeks ago, is I had brought out a bunch of my old sports cards, and I used to be really into sports card collecting.
Yeah.
Like old football cards, baseball cards, stuff like that. And we were just going through them and stuff, and they really got into it. And then I ended up buying them like their own binders and giving them some cards and stuff. Then we started buying some cards. And then I started looking it up, just kind of looking online and seeing like the industry itself has really exploded. Like this hobby has become full blown, like businesses for people, side hustles, whatever. And then like 2 weeks ago, Gary V, who's like a big, if people don't know who he is, like a big social media online entrepreneurial type guy. He did a video on it, and I was like, "Oh man!"
I saw that video.
Like, off, right? So yeah, I've been digesting videos and buying cards and organizing them and nerding out. But it's like for me, man, it combines like my business side and sports side, and I freaking love it, man.
So, have you sold some cards?
I haven't sold yet. I'm doing what's right now called holding. So I have some good cards, but I'm holding. I want to see what's going on.
Okay.
The market and stuff. Now, what's cool now, just to nerd out real quick, is back when I collected cards, it was called the junk wax era. That's what they call it now. Mm-hmm. If anybody who collected cards, there was like Griffey Jr. rookie card was really big. And back then, they basically created a false economic system. So you would buy a card and then you would buy this Beckett book and it would tell you how much cards are worth.
Right.
But it wasn't rooted in anything. There was no supply or demand cycles to it. So there was unlimited amount of cards. So there's no scarcity of any way. So it was basically that's why they're called junk cards. They were fake. It was all fake margins, fake money, stuff like that. So they solved that. So what they've done now is really cool. Is they've solved that problem. They've created a bunch of a lot of cards now have serial numbers or like a count number. So on it, it'll be a stamp. It'll say like 15 of 100, right? So there's your limited supply, right? And then that obviously then increases demand because now I want that card. It's limited. And then they'll do like a 1 of 10 autographed. Boom, even less supply, even more demand, and then that drives price. Right?
Yeah.
But then what's cool is one step further is now they've created there's like a professional grading company that grades the quality of your card based on is it bent, are the corners and edges bent at all or roughed up? And you send it into this company, it comes back, and if you get a score of 10, it's called a perfect gem mint, then that creates even more scarcity. So you might have this card that there's 100 of, but you send it in and only 10 of them come back gem mint 10. And so now you have a rookie card of Joe Montana, let's say, that there's only 10 flawless cards. It skyrockets the price. And people are making like legit money from it.
It makes sense. It makes perfect sense.
So for me, it's just like, I always have to remind myself, right? Like, I do this with my kids, like the original concept of sports cards, trading cards was that, the trade. So we'll mess around, we'll trade and stuff like that. But then on the other end, I'm totally digging into certain players and I have a whole strategy and system I'm following that I think can work really well. And there's certain people I'm looking for and I'm buying up those cards and then I'll hold them for a while. And if basketball resumes, we're going to be in playoff season.
Yeah.
And that's when the most viewers are watching the game. Then that's going to drive up certain players' price. And then after that, we're rolling into football season. That's when football players will go up.
So my next question is, obviously they're still creating cards for current players. Like being the old dude I am, I thought it probably went away. I didn't think, like when you go to the grocery store and you look where all the candy and mints and stuff are, that's where you used to find playing cards and trading cards and stuff. You don't see that anymore. So that's why I was very curious that if there's a demand for people that still look for them.
Yeah, well, Target and Walmart carry cards.
Are they next to the Pokemon section?
Yep. Yeah, exactly. And then a lot of it's done online now, which is great, right? And eBay is huge. Like eBay's the marketplace. You used to go to card shops. There's still are card shops, and I'm gonna totally support them once we can get back out and visit businesses. I'm gonna go there and buy stuff from them. Because there's a few in town, but that used to be the only way you could really get cards or certain players.
Or sell cards.
Yeah, or sell your cards.
Yeah.
I remember going in like trading. I remember buying Keith Schuler. I don't know if you guys remember him, quarterback from Tennessee Volunteers.
Went to the Redskins.
Like, the next thing, I was like, this guy's gonna be like Joe Montana. He's son.
Right. He's a little bit better than Ryan Leaf.
Yeah, exactly. So hopefully I've learned from those mistakes when I was 10 years old or whatever it was.
So you've primarily started with basketball cards.
Right now I'm getting a lot of basketball because basketball, well, my thoughts are...
it's more of an international sport.
Exactly. So the prices are higher for basketball. Like the demand is much more. And then two, it's much easier to predict a career in basketball, I think, and also build a legacy in basketball because you have less injuries and you have longer playing careers, right? Mm-hmm. Like think about
less players.
Less players. So one player, right? Because one player can impact an entire team, right? Because there's only 5 guys on that team, And then in football, it's so many injuries, and then think of the life cycle of a player. I think the life cycle of a player is like 2.5 years on average.
Yeah.
So you're in running backs, right? A great running back might only play 6 years. That sucks. And how do you can't get a lot of value out of cards like that,
You need superstars, people that have long careers, sustained projectivity.
Yeah.
Guys like Jerry Rice.
Which are
both of you should love them.
In football, right? But basketball, it's a little more easy to become iconic,
like a Jordan.
Yeah, that's right.
So, Troy, did you have any trading cards from your kid days that you still had?
Yeah, I do. So a lot of them were from the junk wax era. So like I got Barry Sanders rookie, Emmitt Smith rookie, Troy Aikman rookie, like some cards you would think would be phenomenal, and they're worth shit.
Are they beat up?
They're overpopulated, know. But I do have some cards that they just weren't popular players, but they ended up being very good. So there's lower print. Like I have 3 Bill Belichick rookies, the coach of the Patriots, right? Random, right?
Weezer loves that.
That card back. Like I didn't even know who he was. It's when he was on the Browns. He was the Browns head coach.
He was the head coach of the Browns the last time they made the playoffs.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. So I have 3 of his rookie cards, dude, that actually are worth a decent amount now. So
like what, like $5?
No, those are like $150 to $250.
Nice.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I mean. Like you get Luka Doncic, the basketball player from the Mavericks.
Oh yeah,
is going for his base card is going for $1,700.
Really?
Yes. Yeah, I'm telling you, and you could have got that base rookie card like a year ago for $40.
And the Greek Freak is probably another one where his rookie card was probably nothing.
You could get his rookie card for $20, and now that's selling for $800.
Yeah. Penetrator.
Zion's the card right now everyone's freaking out about.
Penetrator, did you ever participate in this?
Yeah, like when I was 12.
Yeah.
I got like a big box set, like a 92 NFL play. It was like the whole thing.
Right.
Well, one of the things they're talking about that's driving the market is you have people who are kind of like our age, right?
That was the golden years of it, to be honest.
Exactly. Dude, literally, right? The other day I was going through my cards and it's almost emotional. I was like, dude, I remember when these guys were my heroes. And then I had this existential moment where I was like, shit, they're old now. And they're not that guy anymore. And then I was like, oh God, age and time and all this stuff. It was this whole circle of life type moment that just came from the cards, that was pretty cool.
Right. I'm
sharing it with my kids too, which is pretty cool, and they're getting into it and it'll carry on, I think for generations to come, as it has. They've been around, cards have been around for over 100 years.
But what I was going to say is back in the day, between I was ages 7 and 10, I was big into cards, but I was buying the packs. And I'd go through those packs, and I'd feel like I'd get a bunch of nobodies, like you were kind of talking about. But then there were 2 years where I started going to card stores and looking for particular people. I bought 2 cards in particular, make that 3, that I wish I could find. And I explained one of them to you. The first one was Alonzo Mourning rookie. Yes. I don't know if it'd be worth anything, but you got it already? Is it protected? I had a special case and everything for it. The second one was Shaq. I had the Shaq rookie.
Still.
On the Magic, when he was on the Magic?
Yes. And the third player was he was drafted by the Magic. And I got a playing card, which was the only time he was in a Magic jersey because he got traded on draft day. Chris Webber was drafted number 1 by the Orlando Magic and traded on the same day to the Golden State Warriors where he started his career. The card I got was where somehow they had him in a picture in an Orlando Magic jersey, and it had a special frame case. After speaking to you about this show, Fontana, that's why I was looking through all my stuff, because I was like, oh, maybe he's going to be able to hook this up. Maybe me and Fontana can work a deal out. But
Not with Troy.
Not with Troy.
You know, one of the things I think that's cool with this, right, is, I don't know, I'd like to hear your guys' thoughts even, but I think there's an entire group of people who are not working one job. They're working 2 to 3 part-time jobs.
Mm-hmm.
They're driving Uber, they're tending bar at night, and they got a side hustle. Maybe they're doing graphic design work, right? And maybe they want that to take off, but they got to do these few other things to buy time, which is smart, you know?
Got to pay a bill.
So and I think like having a like whatever you want to call it, like a hustle, right? That's what I like to call it, or a side gig, you know, is good. It can be, you know, that can be your funds to take your family on vacation, but that can create funds for, you know, to buy a little extra something on. It gets you a little extra side cash and kind of builds that momentum like I was talking about earlier.
Yeah.
It enhances your creativity. You learn skills. I think there's a lot of value to having a side hustle. Or, I mean, you guys doing podcasts is a similar example. You know, it's something that brings you together. You think about during the week. It can take your mind off the traditional job and put it towards something that's creative and you enjoy, and, you know.
It doesn't feel like work.
That's right. Not at all. Exactly. Like, and what's cool for me now, like when I am working, a lot of times I'll be listening to like a card show podcast or a YouTube video, right? And I'll just have that in the background as I'm putting stuff together, and it makes it more enjoyable, more exciting. The time goes by, you know. So yeah, I think it's good, and especially now, like if people are feeling down and out, you know, because a lot of people aren't working or they are scared about finances. Look, I mean, eBay is a great source, dude. Look for things you can flip or turn, you know. I mean, there's an entire industry of people flipping sneakers. Like they'll go to Ross and things like this. They'll buy sneakers, right? And they'll sell them for $10 more than they bought them for. But, you know, you do that 4 or 5 times in the week, there's $50 that week, you know. That's side cash. That helps. I enjoy that kind of stuff. I think a lot of people could benefit from it, and it can create a good energy.
No, it gives a sense of freedom, and especially in times like now, obviously the status quo, like there's a lot of people losing jobs and being put in really bad situations.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the time frame when you really find out who's going to strive. It sucks right now. But if you can somehow figure out how to make a couple extra bucks in an environment like we're living in right now, it'll be so priceless when we do get out of this and we have our normal social standards and whatnot. Right. The yellow's around the Pennatrator. What's that?
How'd you come up with that? Did you read that in the book or something?
It's what I'm going to use to get through the Pennatrator story of the week. Pennatrator, this is your intro to. I first want to apologize for missing your story of the week last week. I know the tax man was kind of pushing me to force the show to end.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It was I totally forgot it.
Yeah. Oh, you forgot it anyway.
No. I had it. What it was.
Pennatrator, I need to use this. You know what this is? Don't explain it to the people. But this, I want to be totally inspired for whatever your story is.
Is it like half burnt?
It's been used, yes.
Oh my.
It's been used.
Did you find it in a trash can?
No, it was a donation. It was a donation to help with anxiety.
You got a half-burnt donation.
No. This was fully used by me. It's not half burnt.
Oh.
I used it previously to calm my nerves about our environment right now. So anyway, I see a added value for this to inspire me through your Pennatrator story of the week. So go ahead, Pennatrator.
Well, I'll let you do.
No,
first.
Just go ahead. Just start, and it'll be part of the process.
Okay. Well, so the story of the week. Oh, it fits right into hobbies and people trying to find things to do I knew that this was going into doing hobbies and stuff for people being in the quarantine.
Right.
Jpaddy, have you started up another hobby?
I have multiple ideas for hobbies, but
No, but have you started one? Have you gotten like bored enough, or you?
to be honest, I haven't been that bored yet. But we talked earlier last week about the guitar. Like, I'm gonna have to come borrow your guitar.
Yeah, so you haven't done that. I got a.
You have some ideas?
Another one here that you probably should pick up. Okay, so last month, winter, down in Scottsdale, Arizona, for a make it with wool competition. So
What?
Make it with wool.
Make it with wool.
WOOL.
WOOL. So the adult winner was Charlene Colin from North Carolina. Traveled all the way to Scottsdale and won. So,
Well, what did she make?
Well, yeah.
it looks like she made a jacket out of wool. So
Isn't that what you do with it?
You're supposed to make a jacket. What?
Yeah.
So there weren't a lot of competitors?
Like, cool, dude. Like 2 or 3.
no, dude, there's like first, second, third places for outstanding use of a certain mohair.
Let's go.
A sweater took second.
World out there for you that I just wanted to. You might pick that up. It seems like you
You think that's my style?
could be a champion in something.
Obviously, if the jacket won, you got to get a little more creative than.
Like they're all wearing jackets, so you got to be the best at making a wool jacket.
Okay. All right. So Fontana's not to that point, but I do want to bring up this point. Even though he has many hobbies, he said he hasn't watched Tiger King.
No. I don't even know what that is.
Oh, you have Netflix. I know that.
I got Netflix.
It's Tiger King. It's a mini series. Like it's like 7 episodes, and this guy.
Yeah.
Let's not give up too much of the story, but yeah, this guy.
He owns a zoo in Oklahoma.
In Oklahoma.
Oklahoma.
That's why you would love this.
Town. Yeah.
All right.
He also
Just like you.
no, that is totally untrue. But this guy, while raising cubs, actually ran for governor of Oklahoma too. Finished third.
And president of the U.S.
I haven't looked that part up, and I still don't want to believe that. But
Dude, you gotta watch, and then once you make it past, once you make episode, you're hooked, and you'll watch the rest like in a day.
Well, that's hilarious because a mutual friend of ours texted me literally as we were setting this up and said, "Dude, you gotta watch the Tiger King or whatever." I swear, dude. I was like,
"Oh yeah."
What? I was like, and I literally was like, "Hey, I'll get back to you in a minute, dude. Sounds good."
If you don't watch it, then there's something wrong with you.
okay, but here's the thing about Tiger King. I will tell you this, Fontana. After the first episode, I felt dumber.
Dumber?
I felt like I'm like, why am I watching this? But when you hit that second episode, the diversity, the topics this documentary hits,
The characters.
also known as the people, yeah, like they're Pennatrator. Like I don't want to call them characters because these are real people doing this stuff.
Yeah, they're real people, but they're like real pieces of work. So it's dude.
And the fact that they all intermingle. Like we're talking about tiger trainers from multiple areas of the country. 3 different ones, and they have a rivalry for the competition of exotic animals.
All right.
It's like this wool like community where they're probably all at each other's throats. It's kind of like that.
Okay. I'm watching it, dude.
Well, now episode 28 is wrapped up with talking about the Tiger King.
Oh, How could we not, dude?
That's true. Everyone is talking about the Tiger King. Like, you can't even get away from it.
Yeah, but see, Troy hasn't even heard about it yet. So it's
I
only
literally
been
have no idea what that is.
This phenomenon hit like last week. That was it. This is how fast it got big.
Really?
1 week. Yeah, it was last week when
It came out not this past Sunday, but the Sunday before.
But it just blew up. Like everybody's talking about it.
All right. Well, especially now, probably people are watching Netflix a lot more.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, I would never watch it if I had a game to watch.
Right? No sports.
No.
Now I'm watching random stuff. Random stuff. I was watching WrestleMania on Sunday.
Oh, you went deep, dude.
I watched WrestleMania on Sunday. I haven't watched wrestling since I was 8. Once I found out it was fake, I was done.
How are you all doing with this like quarantine stuff, dude? Because it's a change in routine. It's a change in lifestyle for a lot of people.
I'm good. I'm still working.
You're still working, yeah.
I'm doing good.
He
Like,
hasn't, he hasn't had a job before this even started.
like he likes to keep bringing up. I don't have a job that I get paid at. I agree. But I keep you busy, Pennatrator, because this is keeping your mind invested. So,
Right.
to be honest, for this to happen, it takes a little more of time investment than what we do right here. So that's a little bit of time. But
go.
then
That's good.
a fast-paced education. That's what I'm doing right now. So I have
I know you're going to school.
So I have that going, but I will say the lack of social interaction it's been bugging me.
That's what I was gonna ask. How you guys do with like the social aspect of stuff?
Well, from my point, like, this is probably before this started, I loved living by myself. Now it's a little different. Now it's like I can't go outside to do social stuff.
If the weather was better, it would be fine.
Yeah.
Go out and do something. Since the weather's like right in between, cleaning shit and watching Tiger King.
Penetrator, you cut out on that last comment.
Every fucking weekend.
Yeah, that's one thing I noticed is like, for me, what's uncomfortable is like, I just went to the grocery store. I had to get some more supplies. And it's like awkward. I feel uncomfortable. Like, I like to smile at people. I like to be very open. Like, I've even ran into a couple people I know, and it's like, hey, like, you want to give them a hug or something? Like, oh, like, well, what's up? You know, like, that is uncomfortable. And I'm wondering what it's going to be like after this. Are we going to have a pendulum swing where we want to be closer? Like, we're like, hey, I miss everyone. Or is it going to be the other way where we're like,
it's a permanent stain.
Our personal space widens even more, you know, which I hope doesn't happen.
There's going to be an overcorrection for sure.
I hope so.
Which way? That's what way?
That's what I meant. Like, every time I see people now, I'm going to be like, come bring it on in, motherfucker. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting time for sure, man. And I think I also am curious. I feel like America is home of the busybody. Like, you know, like we're a working culture. You know, we work, we go, we take pride in working 50 hours a week, and that's changed for a lot of people. And so I wonder how people are coping with their busyness. Someone I really like, this guy's name. He's called the Herbal Jedi. One of my things I love learning about herbs and plant medicine and stuff like that, right? And he said, I really liked what he said. He said, we've been forced to take a time out and go sit in the corner and reflect on life. And I kind of like that. You can either accept the situation as it is and evaluate your own behaviors, attitudes, and actions, or you can fight against it and be like, this sucks, F everything, blah, blah, blah. And then it's just going to be worse on yourself, obviously. So I'm just curious how people are coping with that. Some probably terribly and some probably doing really well with it. But I feel like the first step is accepting the situation as it is, and then creating that momentum for ourselves, getting outside, exercising. I've been going, even when it's cold, I've been taking the kids out every day, running every day, doing something, Maybe that's not what I ideally would like to do. I'd love to be doing jujitsu right now or whatever. it's all good. You know, I'll let my body recover a little bit and I'll do something different in the meantime. I'm curious the impact it'll have on our society.
So to be honest, with my regimen, I have worked out more now that I'm stuck.
Nice.
Like, to be honest, I wasn't going to the gym as religiously.
Yeah.
And I wasn't going to go back until I felt like I was in the shape I need to be to go back and to be the guy that I was before I stopped. I would work out at home all the time. Got a pull-up bar, have a kettlebell, have a 35-pound plate. So I'm able to do everything that I would do at the gym as far as weight-wise at home. And so I've been doubling it up. I was going 2 days a week. I'm doing it 5 days a week.
The reason why is because you don't have these social obligations that you're getting pulled away from. That's why.
Pennatrator here, but this is the point of it. When you create life flexibility here, one day when I do have a job again, it's going to have the flexibility where I can make sure I can take the personal time I need to do whatever, whether it's school, gym, blah, 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 you know? Flexibility means something.
You won't be in school. But I mean, yeah, but then you're going to have to balance your social stuff with your workout stuff. Right now, you don't have to balance the social stuff. You're able just to do the workout. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Well, and that's how I am right now. I have really no social interaction unless I create it, which is fine with me as of right now.
You guys both brought up some good points. I think to Kenny's point, like having less social interaction makes things a little narrower, right? You can focus on certain things more. Like even for us, I told, my wife and my kids, I was like, look, why are the Navy SEAL teams small, 4-man teams, right? I was like, because you're efficient that way. You move quickly, you can adapt, you can adjust. And I was like, our focus right now, the priority has to be on the team. So we have to stay centered in the team right here, very focused on us. Are we, meeting each other's needs? Are we giving each other enough personal space? Do we have enough food supplies? How can I interact with my team so we can move and adapt quickly and effectively? And that keeps us efficient. And then to Jpaddy talking about, we have to find these ways to stay engaged in these physical activities, right? To keep us moving, to keep that momentum like we were talking about earlier. Because then that creates something. We all bring something to the whole. Mm-hmm. And so if I'm down and depressed, I'm bringing something to the collective. It's going to start with my family. It's going to bleed out into other places. And it's like that with all of us, so we have to take that internal responsibility. And I also I've been staying off social media. I've been doing very specific. I have to use it, with the business and stuff, but I've been very specific. Like I'm in and then I'm kind of out,
Like, do you set time frames for how much time you're actually going to put into it? Like, I have to do this only for 2 hours. I got something else to do or whatnot.
That's right. And I only watch news. I watch it in the morning for a very short period of time, just updates, basically, like YouTube updates. I don't do it before bed because I don't want it to mess up my sleep cycle. We have to be, now more than ever in these kind of moments like this, you have to create boundaries for yourself. And, even some expectations would be okay. It's interesting, but it's good. It gives you some self-evaluation that way as well.
It makes you cherish simple stuff. It makes you cherish simple aspects of life.
Well, I'd much rather be sitting next to all three of you guys, right? This is great, but I'd love to be slapping hands and throwing some hugs and freaking.
Pennatrator, do you not agree?
No, I agree.
Pennatrator was giving some weird looks on the on the video chat. He's like, nope. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Oh, my PJs right now. This is awesome.
Exactly. Okay, and that's the other thing. We now hang out. We don't have to get ready to go out anymore. So you're really seeing people in the video aspects. You see some personal stuff that maybe you're not ready for, or you didn't expect of a person.
Mm-hmm.
That's what there's actually research about how many decisions a person can make in a day. and each of us has like generally a specific number. Like I don't know the full details, right? But let's say you can make 500 decisions in a day, and so you're limiting decisions by being able just to wake up, throw some comfy clothes on, sit down at your computer, get to work. You're probably even more efficient. It's not like, oh, how do I have to look today? I got to do this. I got to put this on. Like, by the time you leave your house, there goes 25 decisions.
Right.
So some people are probably getting some pretty creative work done, having some more creative, inspiring type of ideas and stuff.
I have a question for both of you, and you have to be honest.
Okay.
Do you guys make your bed every day?
95% of the time.
Penetrator?
I'm up.
Oh, Megatron. She's going to be the one making the bed. You don't know.
Yeah.
But yes, you do. You go to bed to a made bed every day.
That's one of Jordan Peterson's rules, dude. I remember. Yeah. You should make your bed, dude.
Who is the Navy SEAL guy that it does? David
Goggins?
David Goggins.
Yeah, David Goggins, yeah.
I don't know why he brought this up in some content, but he said at the very beginning why the service makes you make your bed every day. So you always know you're getting a task done right off the bat. And it talks about principles of getting tasks done. And that's why service people.
It's like a light switch, dude. That's how I think of things like that. It clicks on the light. What's weird is like we think we can be move very specifically from one task to the next, or one source of energy to the next, work to home, home to the gym. But it's not that easy always. And so sometimes we need a routine. It could be, a little whatever. I don't like the word like hacks really, but whatever, like something that you can do to kind of change the dynamics of the situation, whether it's, your breathing techniques, or people use substances, right? Some are better than others, different things to switch gears. And I think, yeah, totally. That makes total sense.
Penetrator, the look on your face.
Making faces at us while we're talking.
It's funny to watch myself, man.
That's why we need to get this on YouTube so you can watch yourself.
Yeah, people need to see us right now.
I don't know if there are 3 different environments that you could say right now. Like, we are pretty opposite right now.
You're right.
Studio, I got my kitchen in the background with my couch. Obviously, Penetrator. Very clean office. I like the picture in the background. It looks like you almost set it up.
My grandma painted that one.
It's the desert. And then Troy, the really official office with you can tell he's doing work stuff in.
Oh yeah. It's a workbench back there.
So this made me think of something, if I can bring this up to you guys real fast. So you said your grandma or whatever painted that picture. So one of the things I've been thinking about a lot is the value of hobbies. And so, you just heard me talking about the sports cards, right? I feel like our hobbies can bring out certain parts of ourselves, like artistic side or a creative side, that can then bleed into other aspects of life. Like I said, even right now, right? A lot of people are not able to work. And so now you get to see how well developed you are with your hobbies. Can you sit down and paint? Can you take a camera, go outside and take pictures of wildlife, and be patient, be calm in these moments, and find other things to do? Or are you going stir crazy because your hobby is your work?
Yeah.
And some people, again, some people love their job, amazing, awesome. But I think it's beneficial to learn about ourselves and about life through our hobbies. That can be a really cool thing. So the painting, I've got an oil set of paint stuff here. Awful, but I've been trying to paint myself, but I've been trying to learn. It's fun. It's super cool. The kids get into it and stuff, and it's almost meditative in a way. It's cool. I love hearing when people have little things they do like that.
Penetrator, do you have time for that additional hobby?
Yeah, I have a lot of time.
I thought you were keeping yourself pretty busy.
I seriously, I don't know.
Is drinking the hobby? That's what I'm asking you now.
Oh yeah.
Drinking in the app watch party or house party, excuse me.
Yeah, house party. That's fun.
We're gonna get Fontana in that too. There's gonna be times where we gotta play card games.
Totally.
Why would we do that?
That'd be fun.
Why would we do that?
Yeah.
I see no reason to do that.
Why not?
Why
is the
not?
thing.
Oh,
That's a
man.
good point. All right.
If that,
Now that we're totally in the weeds, Fontana, it was good having you back.
Thanks, you guys. Anytime, man. I appreciate it.
You bring
Always a pleasure.
a lot of depth to our show.
Oh, thanks,
that,
man.
was, that was a big word.
Thanks.
I had to think about it. Depth? No, but seriously, Fontana, compared to anybody that I know, you speak deep.
Oh, thanks, man. Thank you.
And that's why Pennatrator gets quiet.
That's because I what? I get
Quiet.
no. It's hard. It's hard to talk on this thing.
I appreciate it, you guys, man. Anytime, I love chatting. I love just to keep it real. You guys can, dude, you can ask me anything. I'll always give you my best to give you an honest, straightforward answer. I've fallen on my face plenty more times than I've stood up straight, so I don't mind sharing those stories too. But that's part of what makes us who we are, hopefully, and
We'll bring you back on for the because you haven't been talking about the real. We want to hear about the wars and the horror stories and
okay.
and make fun of it, obviously. But Pennatrator, can you spit out a promotion right now, and hopefully everyone can hear it?
Yeah. _Pennatrator's got one additional follower. People.
No. Yeah.
So Pennatrator for the future. Well, even for now, we don't worry about the numbers. We're that under the radar popular that you can't track with a like or a follower.
Yeah.
People don't want to admit they listen to us.
Yeah. This has been awesome. Actually, it's yeah.
All right, so _Pennatrator to follow the Pennatrator. You can find Patty Bandwagon in the search. What do we know about glasslung.com?
Yeah, glass lung. Make sure we do that.
Instagram @glasslungpipes.
@glasslungpipes. I'll make sure to put that in the notes. So
Card collection.
Card collection. My Instagram, I think it's @Mr. Troy 11 or something like that.
Is that what the cards are going through? That's how you're working that?
No, I'm gonna go through eBay.
Okay.
But I might put a link on my Instagram thing that says something about it at some point.
That'd be
Right?
create more demand.
Dude, who would have thought? Playing cards. I love the fact that we talked about that.
I know. Right?
I'm surprised Tech Mobile didn't get involved into it.
Probably scared everyone off. Anyone who would listen probably left right away.
You know what? If they've already left, I do want to bring one more thing up before I get off before we finish this up. Have you been keeping track of UFC as far as UFC 249 coming up in 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Here's my thing about this. If you're a fighter and you don't know who you're going to fight, like with the unpredictability, how are these dudes going to be able to have good fights if Dana White makes that happen?
No, that's good. I've thought about that, and so look, it depends on the fighter. I think there's two types of fighters.
Yeah.
Some people get very focused on who they're fighting. They study that person, and they put a lot of focus on that person. Like, this person does that, I'll do this, da-da-da. And then if the fight ever changes, it screws them up in the head. Not maybe the most effective strategy. Yeah, I think there's other fighters, and like Conor McGregor, I've heard talk about this. He is ready to fight anyone. You've heard a lot of these guys, Cowboy Cerrone, take people on short notice. It's because the fighter they're fighting against is themselves. So they're always ready, right? Like, I'm working on myself, liquid, right? And that's a better approach, in my opinion, because you're pliable. You can adapt to the situation, to the fighter, the circumstance. I know this even from fights I've had and events and stuff like that, is if you get too rigid and stiff and something changes, even in the night of the fight, same opponent and everything, but your hand wraps get screwed up, or you have to warm up in a different situation. And if you're rigid, that one little thing can throw your game plan off. So you have to be like, fuck it, I'm ready to roll. You know what I mean? Like, this is going down, and I'm beating this dude no matter what happens. So it just depends, I think.
So I am very bummed that obviously Khabib and Ferguson aren't going to fight on the 18th. Khabib can't get out of Russia. They got announced today.
Oh no!
So
Yeah, that's the fifth time that fight has been scheduled.
correct. When this came up, and because Dana White obviously is all about making these fights happen, no matter what circumstance, no matter what venue. So it creates an unpredictability with the fighters. Like they'll have a scheduled fight, and then all of a sudden maybe one will get sick. They got to pull that one and just throw in another one. And they don't have the pool because it's all U.S. Because the issue is if there's a fighter from outside the country, Brazil, Russia, wherever, they can't make it, and they can't fill cards.
I think it's like this is obvious. This situation is much different than anything else, right? And I totally get anybody who would feel uncomfortable, or it's a little bizarre and wild. I get it. Like as a business, their opportunity is it'll be the only sports aired in months.
Totally makes sense. It is the smartest thing in the world.
Yeah, I could see with that, but from a humanitarian standpoint, that's always got to be a priority, in my opinion. So maybe there's a way they can marry the two. That'd be the best scenario.
So what Dana White said, he said that mixed martial arts, combat fighting, is one of the most sanitary sports out there because of how they already prep already, because of the high medical procedures that those fighters have to go through, just all the regulations that are set up for combat sports in general. So yeah, that's what his point is with this. He's going to make it happen no matter what.
Yeah, but you can't, it's not the two fighters that you're worried about. It's the fucking janitor standing in the hallway and coughs at you when you're walking down the fucking thing. That's what you're worried about.
Well, at the end of the day, I think we'll all agree, a prize fight with nobody watching in the stands, something goes away. Something. Yeah. Daddy's calling.
Daddy's busy right
Someone
now.
needs Daddy. Anyway, we went off in the weeds to talk UFC, but
hey, speaking of UFC and sports cards, I got Khabib's.
They have sports cards too.
From UFC 229 has a piece of memorabilia in it. It's like a chunk of the ring and a chunk of like the shirt he was wearing or something in the card.
Oh,
that's what I mean. But they're creating some cool shit these days, dude.
Oh, they're adding
against Conor McGregor. Let's go. Slide through. In the dance. Bro.
Yeah. I think that's a good way to end it.
Yeah.
_ Pennatrator. Follow Patty Bandwagon in the search. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, pattybandwagon.com, glasslung.com. Check it out. I'm going to use it for the next show I do with Fontana. Pennatrator, what do you have to say to the people?
Bye-bye.